Hello. Today we'll be playing By Your Hands. So the music here for the intro is a little bit different. Not too different. And some characters that did not get sprites in the previous builds have sprites now. They got their own sprites. I'm about to see one of those characters with a new sprite in a moment. So this build continues Mr. Baker's route, but I guess the two of them have gotten close. So close now that we can just call him Brendan. So I think this is day 2 for Brendan. I forgot which day it was, but I think it's day 2 I think it's day 3 for Brendan. So go ahead and see a new sprite work. And we're also going to continue the story. Rex. Oh, Dr. Abraham. Hello, sir. I've been trying to reach you for the past half hour. Where have you been? Okay, we already played this part here last time, but here's a new sprite of Dr. Abraham. Looks like a reptilian or a reptile. Not sure exactly what species it is.
That teacher was a stupid bitch or whatever, like, dude, that was it. I was done. And by the way, I know a lot of you guys have ADD out there, but as someone with severe ADD, I have severe ADD, as you can imagine. Anybody who's tried to get me to be on time for some kind of chat or tried to figure out knows I have severe retarded ADD. I literally am a fucking tard. So,
Video progress for 10 minutes, 30 seconds, 1 hour. Pause.
Hello. Today we'll be playing By Your Hands. The music here is a little bit different from the last time. Not too different. Some characters that did not have sprites in the previous updates have new sprites now. Dr. Abraham is one of them. So we're about to play his part from the last update when Rex gets home and he runs into Dr. Abraham. We're going to play that part again now that he has a new sprite added. And afterwards, we're going to play a new build and spend more time with Mr. Baker. But I guess they've gotten so close now that we can just call him Brendan, because the game refers to him as Brendan now, not simply Mr. Baker. Let out in a heavy sigh. Blow out all the tension and the anxiety and Rex. Oh, Dr. Abraham. Hello, sir. I've been trying to reach you for the past half hour. Where have you been? I'm sorry, sir. I didn't hear my phone going off. I was just hanging out with a friend I made on campus. Is that so? Then your socialization is going well? Yes, sir. Well then, I suppose that's alright. Just be more aware going forward. Yes, sir. I've heard what happened on campus this morning. I understand that must have been a difficult thing to experience. How are you doing? I think I'm okay, sir. Just trying not to think too much about it. Understandable response. Still, I scheduled a session with Dr. Tanya in order to gauge and help regulate your emotional state. If that's something which will be necessary, of course. Thank you, sir. Should I head over to our office then? I'll escort you over, but first, you were interrogated by the police as a potential person of interest, yes? Yes, sir. They were interrogating everyone, all the students and the faculty. And what did you tell them? This is what I was doing last night, and that I was home before 7. That's all. Alright then. Well, come along. Dr. Tanya should be ready for you by the time we arrive, and it wouldn't do to keep her waiting. Yes, sir, Dr. Abraham. I was already starting to get used to my new morning routine. Waking up. Getting ready to leave the lab complex. Grabbing a bite of breakfast. Jogging to the campus. It was simple. It was easy. But still my stomach dropped at the sight of a crowd gathering once more around the entrance gates. Smaller than the day before, however, and not anywhere near as raucous. There was only one pair of uniformed animals and guard, speaking briefly to each student before waving them through. No big commotion, no flashing lights, and no yelling or crying. Just a low murmuring and rumbling of annoyance. Slowly, step by carefully measured step, I approached the back of the group to get a better look, keeping my eyes on the officers, security, not police, according to the decals on the chest of either one's uniform. Each student who passed through the gate rifled through their pockets or their purses or pulled out their wallets before handing something over to one of the uniformed animals. Then something was looked over, peered at, examined, and handed back. A little closer, I could finally see what was going on. Those security guards were checking each student's university ID card. Deep breath in, slow, steadying breath out, tension relaxing, gusting out from the depths of my chest. It was just like the gate outside the lab complex, nothing to worry about. Maybe even a little comforting in its familiarity. Eventually, it was my turn. I pulled out my ID and gave it to the elephant, letting him look it over while ducking my head under the window's squinting stare. Alright. Head on in. Alright. Head on through. I did so, and I collected my ID from his hand and began making my way to class. More security guards were posted here and there around the campus, It looked like there was at least one outside of every building, as well as a few at specific spots along the sidewalks and passed between them. Every single one of them keeping an eye on the milling students. I kept an eye out for Camille or Connor, but no luck. I was on my own. Guess I just had to find them later. For a moment, I slipped by the uniform Komodo dragon outside the history building and plodded along to Brendan's classroom. Again, I took a seat in the first desk, and the first desk I came across right near the front. The boss was counting on me to be a good student after all. The fact that it allowed us to catch one another's eye as soon as he stepped in was just a bonus. Although memories from the day before did start filtering through my mind at the sight of him, I went to dump my head and hoped that no one sitting next to me could notice the light dusting of heat across the bridge of my snow. Deep breaths, Rex. Just calm down, act natural. Good morning, everyone. I'm sure some of you have already heard this, but we're making an announcement in all morning classes today. You probably noticed the security guards on campus. They'll be here for the remainder of the semester, keeping an eye on things to make sure you all remain safe. In addition, more security cameras will be installed in and around the buildings over the next few weeks. We faculty will be working with the police to ensure that what happened will not have any chance of happening again, and we appreciate it if all of you could cooperate as well. Finally, there are many of you who knew Tucker and many more who knew who he was. His family has had close ties with Mammoth University for a long while, so needless to say, his loss has affected all of us. As such, the administrative office would like me to inform you all that the Thompson family will be holding a public memorial service for Tucker this coming weekend, once they've attended to all their private affairs. Anyone who wishes to join them in celebrating Tucker's life will, of course, be welcome. You should be getting an email notification about it when the details have all been worked out, so be on the lookout for that. Again, the bison cleared his throat. So, now that that's out of the way, why don't we get started, Considering what happened yesterday, I understand if y'all had other things to focus on rather than studying. So today we'll go over the first 3 chapters of the book in brief, just to give you something to work off of. Before we begin, does anyone have any questions? Yeah. The red-tailed hawk sitting to my left raised a hand. Tobias, yes, please go ahead. So, what will you give us as summary of Vespucian history back on the first day of class if we're going to be studying world history? An excellent question. And nod and then a bright smile given to the room at large. Last time we went over Vespucci's founding, yes, how the various species carved out their niche, how their tragedies and triumphs affected one another, how conflict led to compromise and that lands to cooperation. Those tragedies and triumphs that compromise and cooperation, that is what built the country we live in today. As Vespucci isn't the only country in the world, there are many similar stories in every nation. Sure, they may not be exactly the same. The details vary by species, class, how and why the different wars and conflicts played out in different ways. Problems here in Vespucci aren't universal ones that everyone else has their own issues to deal with, of course. But by looking at our stories, our histories, we can gain the context to understand how theirs came to be, and we can see how they all connect to one another. So that's why we start by looking at one story of the past, start from one point and work our way backward or forward so we can look at the big long chain of cause and effect as a whole and thereby come to understand it. You see, class, history is who we are and why we are the way we are. I always wanted to use that line. Anyways, Are there any other questions? He looked around the room, the smile on his face growing a little more strong by the moment. I took a look around as well, seeing like blank faces at best. Some of the other students had their heads ducked down, probably looking at their phones, while others were just staring off into space in various directions. Anyone? Yes? No? I sat there in my seat, completely aware of all the presences surrounding me, all the eyes that were waiting to turn my way in the slightest movement. Caught between putting my hand up, and only to break the awkward zigzag and keeping it pressed against the top of my desk. I'd already asked him what I wanted to ask 2 days before when I went to find him during his office hours. And I was thinking about the sounds I heard coming from inside his office again, thankful to Bison clearing his throat drew my focus and everyone else's back to the front of the class. Well then, in that case, why don't we get started? Open your books to the first chapter, everyone. We'll begin at the beginning. Back when the various species were taking their first steps towards sapience. A very wild time for everyone, to be sure. And so that was how we spent class that day, going over everything from the very beginning. How animals began working towards sapience, the predators developing better hunting strategies, the prey species being pushed to defend themselves. While they strive in numbers, developing the first loose-knit social groups, splitting off from their wild cousins as clans, became tribes, became civilization. By the time class was over, I had even more questions than answers. Guess I'd just have to do some more independent studying. Health and calculus were pretty much the same way. The professors made an announcement about the security guards, and cameras informed us about Tucker's funeral, then let us off easy with some review work. Finally, lunchtime rolled around. Once again, I met with Connor outside of my calculus class. He wanted to hang out and have lunch together, catch up while we weren't both still reeling from part of an actual dead body being found on campus. I felt really bad about brushing him off, especially after what had happened between the two of us the day before, but I did kind of already have plans. Guess it was just our bad luck that one thing after another kept coming up. Just like he always would when we were kids and I'd need some cheering up, he clapped me on the back and gave me that reassuring grin of his. We'd had plenty of time, whether later that day or some other one. As always, he just knew tomorrow would be a good one. So after another small bout of play wrestling, he sent me off with a waiver and promised to text me later that afternoon. I made my way into the student center, wanting to pick something up to go at a restaurant since heading to the dining hall would mean I'd have to eat there. Took a look around while I joined the line, but didn't see any sign of either Liam or Wyatt around anywhere. I've been hoping they at least would have an idea of where Camille had gone to, since they were always hanging out together. I guess I would just have to text the crocodile myself to check in on him. But I could worry about that later. Furthermore, I took a look over my options for lunch. Considering who I would be eating with, beef probably wouldn't be all that good of an idea. I was about to take a container of the popcorn chicken, but thought better of it and grabbed the shrimp instead. A nice guilt-free compromise. Then I grabbed a drink and paid, hesitated before tucking my receipt into my pocket and headed over to the history building. Up to the second floor. Down the hall to Brendan's office door, giving it a knock. Brendan? Ah, Wex. There you are. Please come on in, make yourself at home. With a chuckle, he waved me in. With a nod and a smile, I took his invitation. That same rich, masculine pungent, though not all unpleasantly so, smell greeted me as soon as I stepped into the room. Heat ballooned across my snout under my belt. I couldn't hide the way I sniffed the air, even if I wanted to. I sifted from foot to foot, feeling a bloom of heat under the scales of my cheeks, and decided not to comment. Sure, what we were doing probably wasn't, wasn't appropriate, and sure, maybe it was okay to indulge at least a little bit in my enjoyment of his presence. But he said it the day before, hadn't he? The two of us needed to be careful not to take things too far. Wendell continued to hold the door open as I passed by him, then grunting quietly, the bison kicked the door stop into place with a hoof. So, please have a seat. It had become a routine for the two of us at that point, him plopping down into his desk chair, me taking the plastic one nearby after he gestured for me to do so. There was a large plastic bowl of salad sitting on his desk, which the bison began poking at with his fork as I settled into my seat. I couldn't help taking a curious sniff. Leafy greens, the salt smell of onion, an earthy herby undertone, nothing but particularly sweet. Brennan took a bite, his chewing slow, and considering he even let out a brief, muffled hum as his eyes wandered up towards the ceiling. Then, after swallowing, he tore open one of the small packets sitting on a nearby napkin and squeezed out a few vinegary smelling drops. Well, go ahead and dig in. He nodded down towards the container I had set on my lap. What's for lunch anyway? Popcorn shrimp. Pretty tasty. It looks like they didn't. It looks like they didn't cheap out on the. I glanced over at the bison salad, up to his face, looking away out to the nearby window while clearing my throat. Rex, relax. Rex, please relax. You have your dietary needs, and I have mine. Another bite of the salad, then a moment to squeeze another few dribbles of dressing onto it. I've had plenty of carnivore friends over the years. It's never been an issue for me. We're just two animals sharing a meal together, alright? Alright. I finally grabbed a few breaded chunks and popcorn and popped them into my mouth, washing them down with a gulp of my drink. Deep breaths. Slow, deep breaths. Focus on the flavor of the fried meat and seasonings, knowing how awkward the situation could be made. It was just like that one time with Camilla's family. Everything will be fine. So how's your day been going so far? Well, we reached the small talk phase, so that had to count for something. Pretty alright. Can't really complain, I guess. How about you? About as well as it can be with all this mess going on. Yeah. You, get a chance to check out any of those shows I recommended yesterday? Apparently, they finally got the rights to stream old episodes of the Mudwalks. Still waiting on Pterosaurs, though. But hey, there's always DVD. Yeah. Took my sweet time chewing, swallowing, and sipping on my drink before answering. I didn't get a chance yesterday, but was busy with some other stuff. I see. Well, if you do get a chance, let me know what you think. Alright? Sure, will do. I gave her another smile, feeling the corners of my mouth grow a little less strained. How about you? What kind of stuff are you into? Rex? Oh. And then my head stared hard at the floor between my shifting feet. What kind of stuff was I into? Sure, I've seen plenty of shows, and not just the entertainment ones from my enrichment curriculum, but proper cartoons with Camille and Connor when we were all younger. Even ones or two movies where we could get away with it. But it had always been them picking stuff out, and always just gone along with whatever they chose. In the end, I could only shrug, popped a few more pieces of swivel to my mouth just to keep myself occupied. Brennan leaned forward, reaching out and setting a large hand on my shoulder to help to drag my thoughts out of the loop they'd been caught in, at least. In every case, your dad is stressing about things like that. How I can connect the dots with the way you reacted and what I know about your circumstances. It wasn't exactly hard to extrapolate. Oh, he crossed the bridge of my sound. I was about to duck my head back down, but he gave my arm a reassuring jostle. Don't worry, I understand. I may not know the full extent of things, but well. How about this? You check out a few of those shows I always recommend and tell me what you think. In the meantime, I could think of some other things that might be of interest to you. Maybe if you would be up for it, and if time and circumstances allow, you and I could even get together sometime to watch something. Of course, your classes come first, and here in my office may not be the best place for it, so he looked away. Over towards the window, over towards the door, down to the salad, poking and prodding at it with his fork. Didn't need to finish his sentence for me to pick up on what he was getting at. You know what? I think I'd like that. Sure. Maybe sometime on the weekend. His drooping ears perked back up, one of them flicking. Maybe. We can see what works out. He chuckled and sat back in his chair, adjusting his tie, scratching at the fur along his jawline, humming in thought. Maybe we could even make a thing of it. A mentor-mentee thing. I mean, maybe even invite Owen along so the two of us can have a chance to get to know one another. Huh? Maybe. If it's something he'd be up for, I don't see why not. I still wasn't sure what the orca thought about me, but if Brendan wanted him to tag along, I could see how things would work out between the two of us. Who knows, maybe we could even become friends that the bison seemed to want. Although, we might need to. Oh, please excuse me, I need to take this real quick. When I sat back in my seat, tucking into the remainder of my lunch, the bison pulled out his phone and answered. Hello? Hey, what's up? Anything alright? I didn't want to eavesdrop, but my head ended up cocking just the slightest bit when his brow forward, his ear flicked. Let's see. Are you sure I could? Alright, I'll be there soon. Yep. Alright. Hey, it's okay. See you soon, yeah? He hung up, let out a heavy sigh, and shoved the last few forkfuls of salad into his mouth before hauling himself to his feet. I'm really, really sorry about this, but I need to cut things short. Is everything okay? Yes, everything's alright. I just need to leave early to go pick up my son. Oh, alright then. His son. Brendan had to leave to go pick up his son. Brendan had a son. By the time my mind had finished processing that, the bison had risen from his seat and gathered up everything he needed for the day in his briefcase. I'm sorry I won't be able to drive you home tonight. I'll make it up to you tomorrow, okay? And he shifted from hoof to hoof. There was a quiet lowing sound vibrating in his massive chest. I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, but would you mind meeting up with Owen for a little while today in my steed? Just to check in on him and make sure everything's alright since he and I didn't get a chance yesterday. Oh, alright. Thank you. He and I usually meet at around 3ish, so just swing by around that time. Would that work for you? That'll work perfectly, yeah. That's just a little after my last class, so. Good, alright then. And speaking of yesterday, another shift from hoof to hoof. If he, asked about it, could you? Could you reassure him of how things are between you and me? Come to think of it, things could get problematic real quick if word got out about how things were between me and Brandon. Couldn't they? Even if we were just keeping things as mentor and mentee, well, probably a good idea to take care of misunderstandings before they got too out of hand. Alright, thank you. If you like, I could call later tonight just to see how things are going. Wouldn't want to distract you from your studies, of course, but after glancing toward the open doorway, checking that the coast was clear, his face relaxed into a slight smile at the gesture. Once more I could see a deep red blood spraying under his fur, over his snout, inside his flicking ears. I'd appreciate it. Talk to you later tonight. Yes, talk to you later tonight. With that, the bartender led me out of his office. After turning to reach in and flick the light off, then closing and locking the door, he pulled me into a brief one-arm hug. I didn't have the chance to react even to give him a squeeze in return, but he was rusting off with a wave. I waved to Brandon in return, then checked the time on my phone. Shit, I have to book it to make it to my next class on time. The rest of the day continued on from there, pretty much the same as it had on my first day of college. With biology, a pretty easy course, especially after being raised in the lab complex, but I could still appreciate getting a taste of the very basics. And then jazz band, I still wasn't sure if practicing fine movements and breath control was really as necessary as the research team insisted, but it was a lot of fun. Then, once again, I was free for the rest of the day. Once again, I made my way back to the much quieter, if not deserted, history building. Once again, I stood outside Borden's office door. There was still some time left before 3, so I put my phone out to check in on Camille and Connor. What's the crocodile? Hey man, you doing alright? Haven't seen you all day. No reply. Well, he was probably busy. I could check in on him again later. That just left Connor. Hey man. Hey, what's up? Nothing, just wanted to see how things are going with you. Pretty okay, gotta run some errands for Uncle Cooper again, though probably gonna miss hanging out with you later. Sorry. Hey, it's alright. Got a pretty big gap in my schedule tomorrow, so we can meet up and hang out then. Like 11:30ish? Sure, sounds good to me. It's a plan then. I looked up from my phone, there he was. Just the orca I'd been waiting for. Hi, how's it going, Owen? Okay. He got his head lowered, his eyes downcast, only occasionally glancing past me towards the door of Borden's office. Mr. Baker had to leave earlier. He wanted me to come by to tell you and to maybe, chat for a little bit. You and me. Why? Couldn't stop myself from blinking in surprise. That was blocked. When I took a good look at the other's face, where I could see, of it at least, there was only pure confusion and curiosity in his expression. I could work with that, at least. Probably the best course of action. I didn't want a repeat what had happened during our first meeting. Well, since this is my first year here, I don't exactly know a lot of people on campus. And hey, you and me are both getting mentored by Mr. Baker. That's pretty cool, right? So with all that in mind, he wanted me to try reaching out sometime. Since he's not gonna be here this afternoon, and we're both kind of left to wait until tomorrow, well, what better time? Orca continued to peek up at me from under his furrowed brow, then glanced down and away, to sit from foot to foot, awkward and unsure. He moved his lips quietly, muttering and murmuring to himself. And stayed quiet, waiting with bated breath for whatever he would eventually say. Okay. Okay, great. So it was my turn to sit from foot to foot. I wasn't sure the ice was broken, but where could I go from here? From there? Are you in one of Mr. Baker's classes? Yeah. His Intro to World History one. Why? I nodded Orca's head, a deep breath in, held for a solid count, and then I gushy set out. That's a pretty basic one, but it's really, really important foundationally for a lot of the more higher level classes, and also just in general. Knowing how and why things happen is important for understanding the world we live in today. History is who we are and why we are the way we are. Yeah, that perked him up. So, if you want some help with studying or anything like that, if you even need help studying, sorry. I gave him a smile with my small and closed lip. Poor thing already looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. Didn't need to be flashing teeth at him on top of it. And hey, even outside of studying, we could just hang out and get to know one another. Sound good? Noah's tension of soldiers had finally eased up, and the orca was even giving me a small side smile. Great. So, Mr. Baker actually wanted me to ask you something on top of checking in with you since he had to leave. Okay, what is it? It's about what happened yesterday. What about it? I looked at him, just a little taken aback. He just looked right back at me, expressing nonplussed, if not a little confused. Well, okay, how could I approach this? I guess after you walked in on us, Mr. Baker just got a little worried you might have thought something inappropriate was going on. Inappropriate? I mean, the two of us meeting up together and all that alone in his office. He furrowed his brow. That's how me and him meet up. What's inappropriate about it? When you put it that way, not much, I guess. He might just have been overthinking it, though. I mean, since no one else really goes to his office because it kind of smells, you know? I watched his face carefully, looking for any shift or flinch. If he didn't see anything inappropriate, he had to have noticed a scent or two adult, healthy, aroused males filling the stuffy and closed room. Another sweat, either he was really, really good at acting nonchalant or... I don't have a sense of smell, orca. Owen tapped his nose, or the top part of his snout, I guess. So I don't know how his office smells. Well, I'm glad there wasn't any misunderstanding then. A deep breath in, holding it, counting silently in my head, letting it leak out in a quiet, sheepish laugh. Well then, I guess that's it. You got any more classes for the rest of the day, or? No, but I do need to get home. Alright then, guess I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? Okay. Again, we both stayed still. Neither of us wanted to be the one to turn and walk away first. Hey Owen, speaking of tomorrow, Mr. Baker was actually talking a bit about, all three of us hanging out together sometime. Will you be up for something like that? Dorothy looked at me, biting his lip, blushing, then finally gave me a warm, eager smile. I think I would be. So, yeah. That's about how it went. I see. It was late in the evening. I was back in my room and lying on my bed, having already rinsed the day's worries and cares off in the shower. After grabbing a bite of dinner and spending some more time studying for the next day's classes and checking in with Dr. Abraham after he arrived from the main lab, I had texted Brandon. That text had turned to a phone call, greetings exchanged along with a few mild pleasantries. Then the Boston had asked how things went with Owen. A nose quivering in his deep, bassy voice, a quiet clearing of his throat, both preceding and following the question. And I had answered, relaying the conversation I had with the orca. The other end of the line remained quiet for a while. After I finished, I sat there repositioning myself, trying to get the tension gathering between my shoulder blades stretched and ease away. Finally, I heard a heavy sigh. I guess I was worrying over nothing then. Still, it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah. I am grateful to you for meeting up with him and talking about it. And I'm sorry for putting you on the spot like that. Hey, it's fine, really. I'm happy to help. I don't want to make things awkward with Owen, either between me and him or you and him. Yes, I'm grateful for that as well. So I should probably have a conversation of my own with him tomorrow. He does deserve it, after all. I don't want him to feel like he's being pushed aside. Doesn't seem to me like he feels that way, but yeah, talking would probably be good. And hey, like he said to me and I said to him, maybe all three of us could get together sometime. I know I like that, and I think it would be very good, yes. Tomorrow maybe? If it doesn't interfere with whatever conversation you two have, sure. Maybe I could drop by a little bit after 3, give you guys some time to talk. Yes, perhaps. And then the bison cleared his throat. I guess for now, that's besides the point. What matters is that the situation is all cleared up. Honestly, it's quite the load off my back to know there won't be any trouble from what happened yesterday. I didn't really think there would be, but, well, you know. Yeah, I know. So, how about you? How things go with the sound of a heavy gust of breath from the other end of the line? It went well. Everything's alright. And, again, I'm sorry for having to run off. I huffed out a quiet brief laugh. And again, it's fine, really. I'm glad everything's alright. Yes. Are you alright? You sound a little. Another shifting of my position on the bed, putting the majority of my focus on the movements. I'm fine. Just surprised, I guess. Didn't know you had a son. Well, I do, yes. Huh? He really was that old, wasn't he? It made sense, of course, considering. But I guess it hadn't really struck me until that moment. Rex, are you sure you're alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? You have a son, you're a dad. Yes, that's typically what that means. I rubbed at my face with my free hand, trying to get the thoughts rolling around my brain in order. Finally, I just blurted out the first one that clawed its way out of the whirling raucous pile. I'm sorry, what? The scales across my snout was burning under my rubbing hand. I swallowed hard and breathed in deep, forcing myself to get the words together. I don't know. It makes sense. Just you're so kind of helpful and understanding and all that. I could feel tension squeezing around my throat, forcing me to trail off into a quiet murmur. I see. Well, I'm flattered. I'll be the first to admit I'm far from perfect, but... You really think so? Well, I see. More hemming, more hauling. If Fu grunts and murmurs from the other end of the line, I could easily imagine the way his expression would be shifting, eyes darting around if we were in the same room together. I suppose that it would make sense for you to feel that way given your circumstances. Oh, Rex. I cleared my throat. I wanted to distract myself from the fluttering in my chest and the whirling in my gut. Sorry for, making things awkward. No, don't apologize. You don't have anything to apologize for, right? I understand, really. It's alright. The general warmth in his voice eased away the tension better than any breathing exercise could. Of course, that allowed the thoughts which had been whirling around in my brain to untangle themselves. One particular started pricking at me, and I just had to voice it. I wanted to get it out of my head. Hey, Brennan, could I ask another awkward question? Well, we've already gone this far. Go on and ask away. Oh, you married? Brendan? Ah, sorry. That just caught me off guard. Not grunt, not gulp, not clearing of his throat. I used to be, but I'm single now. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's quite alright, really. I could hear him letting out a quiet, slightly strained laugh. I mean, other than our taste in TV shows, we haven't really done much talking about ourselves. I could hear him letting out a quiet, slightly strained laugh. I mean, other than our taste in TV shows, we haven't really done much talking about ourselves. Huh? That was true, wasn't it? Sure, we talked about how this mentorship thing would work between us, and sure, Brennan knew at least a little bit about my circumstances, but beyond that, what had we really talked about with one another? What did we really know about one another? Yeah, must have let some of what I was feeling come through in my voice. Brennan hummed low and thoughtful, then let out a polite cough. But that just means we'll have to take the opportunity to talk even more, since we are mentor and mentee and all. I mean, we did only just meet, 2 days ago? But right, somehow that didn't make me feel as good about it as Bryson seemed to have hoped. All I mean is that things take time. We can take it one day at a time, right? Calf steps. That was a little more reassuring. I guess, yeah. As I contemplated Brennan's words, the bison swallowed and spoke up again. So, why the sudden interest in my marital status? I struck myself as a 4-star week laugh of my own. Well, you really are an attractive guy, so I guess it wouldn't be surprising if you were. Oh, well, thank you. Silence fell between the two of us, just a little bit awkward, but not all that uncomfortable. It was only broken when I had to suppress a sudden yawn, and Brennan let out a soft, sighing huff. Listen, it's getting late, and we both need to get our rest. I'll see you tomorrow, right? We continue this conversation then, and take things from there. Alright, sounds good to me. Have a good night, Wax. Sweet dreams. More heat pulsing in my face and a flutter in my chest. You too. Good night, Brennan. With that, we both hung up. I just lay there on my bed for a while, breathing in and then out, feeling a small smile curling the corners of my mouth upward. And when it was time for lights out, and I burrowed under the covers and curled up to sleep, I actually did have some pretty good dreams. Dreams of warmth and safety and a certain bison professor. Hello. I hope you guys all enjoyed this build-up by your hands. This one's more set up for the next few builds, but I promise you that will be worth it. If you choose a lot of lustful choices, certain scenes will change drastically. So read those scenes if you want more abundance route. If you haven't already, try getting as close to Owen as possible while doing Brennan's route. You might have to make a few different different choices on day one. Also, there are certain choices that might appear which allow Owen to get more involved in Brendan's route. Try experimenting to get access to those scenes. Join my Discord server by clicking on the icon above for my personal community as well as updates in the game. If you want access to the latest build which furthers Brendan's route, please consider becoming a patron so you can be granted access to it. You become a patron here. That's everything. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you next time. See you later. So that's what's currently available for Brendan's route. So I knew that Brendan was older. I don't know how old he is, but he seems to be like in his 40s, I guess. But again, he could be younger. But I think he's like in his early to mid 40s. So I didn't think he would have gone this far with Rex if he was married. So I figured he was single and that he didn't have. Well, maybe he could have. I think sometimes I thought he might have had kids. Other times I thought he didn't, but I certainly didn't think he was married. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone as far as he's doing with Brenda right now. So Brenda has a son, and he was married, but not anymore. So we also got to meet Owen again. This side nervous orca. Kind of like Owen so far. Hopefully, as we continue, we'll get to know more about Owen. Hopefully, he'll open up to Rex and Brendan more. He seems to really like history because he spent a good deal talking about how important it is and the importance of introduction to world history and how important it is for the more advanced history classes. So there's also a point whether we're having lunch or eating lunch, and there's a difference between the food Rex eats and the food Brendan eats. His food was comprised of vegetables while Rex ate popcorn shrimp. Because Rex is a apex. I believe it's an apex. Well, he eats nothing but meat, so I guess he's a apex. And Brendan is, I don't know, I think it's a primary. Those are like the prey people because he eats nothing but vegetables. And it's obvious that Owen is an apex himself because orca whales, they're the most apex animal of the sea. So obviously Owen's is an apex as well. So while Rex does eat meat, he does not completely feel happy about eating people. And a lot of times when you eat meat, certain kinds of meat, he gets pretty uncomfortable because he's eating a person, a sapient person. So, kind of like the fact that he doesn't completely think of eating meat as being a big deal. He does have some thoughts about eating meat and eating people, and the fact that he was eating meat and Brandon was eating vegetables, that simple lunch that they were having in the office was a big example of the differences between them, between the apexes and the primaries who on the prey. So that's all I have to say for By Your Hands. Looking forward to what happens next. All the information for the games is in the description box below. You can support the game and get updates in advance before they become public. I think like a month before they become public, to be exact. And you can also go to Twitter to get updates on the progress in the game and when updates will come out. Public updates, anyway. So, thanks for watching. Goodbye.